Welcome back to Lunch with Steel, and looks like people are having a conversation about Spider-Man 2018 possibly coming to Xbox. Now, this is an interesting topic in many ways because I am somebody who did play Spider-Man in 2018 when it released on the PlayStation 4, and I only ended up having a PlayStation 4 due to a game called Gundam Breaker 3. It was also how I ended up getting access to play God of War 2018, and that's when I ended up deciding that it wasn't that great, at least for me, putting about 10 hours into it or so. But Spider-Man was a different story. Spider-Man 2018 was probably one of the best, if not the best, Spider-Man experience that I had ever played to that date. I never played Web of Shadows or anything like that, so I don't have that to compare it to, right? Now, again, this is them trying to tell their version of the Spider-Man in-game, and there was a lot of good things that the game did well. The way that they portrayed Peter Parker. I didn't like the fact that they ended up changing the actor or whatever, but hey, to each your own. I don't think it's a major thing. If you played it on PC, you had the ability to change it back. But I really didn't think that it was a terrible game. It wasn't bad. I definitely would give it. I beat it on Spectacular, which I believe was the hardest mode at the time, if I'm not mistaken, and it was a really impactful game as far as the Spider-Man mythos go, and it really set the stage for what I thought the potential of Spider-Man was going to be for the future. Really exciting stuff, right? Got me excited for Spider-Man 2. Got me excited to potentially play through Miles Morales, which I didn't necessarily like them removing or swapping it out from base game because it ended up being quote-unquote DLC. It was supposedly DLC previously, and then they transitioned it into its own standalone thing. Now, that's neither here or there. I heard Miles Morales is really good too. Definitely love Miles Morales as a character, especially as an add-on to the experience, as a balance to the whole Spider-Man mythos, especially adding that on kind of earlier on as far as game wise. Now, Spider-Man 2 ended up releasing. It hasn't come to PC yet, but Spider-Man 2 had a lot of blowback on it, right? Mainly because apparently the story wasn't as strong as people had hoped, right? Especially going from the first game to the second game, there was just a lot of things that, at least for me, I was hoping, like, as an example, if you introduce the concept of Peter Parker and Miles Morales, I was hoping that in the second game, I could get together with my brother, as an example, and be like, yo, trying to run some Spider-Man co-op, Spider-Man 2, we swing through the city, take out baddies, do, whatever the case of this, have a good time, right? I thought there was so much potential for them to go that direction. Come to find out, they didn't end up going that direction. Here's what it is, maybe you do it in the next game, but it's one of those things where it's just like, on the surface level, you think that you have these multiple Spider-Man. Maybe that's something that you would want to implement firsthand. Again, they ended up creating it the way that they did. The other thing, too, was how they handled Venom in the game, apparently, right? Again, I haven't played the game myself. I will find out myself, and I do still need to play Spider-Man Miles Morales. I had it downloaded. I need to re-download it and actually play through it. But got other games on my plate. Becca Breaks kind of was my current focus, and then got Wu-Chang Fallen Feathers at the end of the month. That's my next hype game, before the B-Day, shout to the Leos out there. So that's kind of where my focus is at right now, but knowing that Spider-Man 1 into Miles Morales, people felt really strong about, and then going into Spider-Man 2, people didn't feel as strong about, or at least it wasn't as welcomed as the first game seemingly was critically, or just through with the audience more so. Because that's what matters. I do think that at this point, especially with the Spider-Man games apparently costing upwards of $300 million to make, as an example, especially for a shorter experience, under 20 hours, something that you could beat within a decent amount of time. No expansions, nothing like the Arkham games had, like survival modes and things like that were added on, which I think like character-based action games like that should incorporate things. Like, it's just, you're looking at what existed in the past and how can I make my current game better based off of what previously existed, right? Just being out in the mythos, giving people additional options. Hey, you beat the game, now get in here and get nice with the combo, survival mode, go through waves, see how high you can go, leaderboard, scoreboard, stuff like that. I feel like those are things that you could, I'm not going to say that they're easy, quote unquote, but I think they're just more so things that are like ideal, right? Kind of like low bearing fruit. But I think it is likely that Spider-Man 2018 can come to Xbox. Again, you're looking at almost a decade later for that game to be released. At this point, you're not missing anything. You're only getting a benefit. And again, for me, I'm already of the mind that I don't think exclusives work the way that they used to. I do think that Spider-Man 2018 should have been released on more consoles sooner when it released on PC. That it should have came to all the other platforms at the same time, right? Or at least to Xbox at the same time. Why? I mean, have as many people experience the game as possible, right? I want the devs to have as much buckets of money behind them, or as much support behind them, or as much reviews, or as many reviews as possible, or as much information from the consumer base that they can have to make their next iteration of the game better. Now, again, to each their own. Again, like I mentioned earlier with Spider-Man 2, they didn't quite land that plane as intended. And I don't know if they're going to, apparently there's going to be a Venom spin-off game, kind of similar to what they did with Miles Morales. And I don't necessarily know, with what I've heard of how they handled Venom in Spider-Man 2, that's going to be something, end up being a strong suit, right? So it's like, as somebody who is a Spider-Man fan, right? I'm not a fanboy. I don't know all the mythos of Spider-Man. I'm familiar, right? I've become more of a Venom fan over the years than I am Spider-Man. But Spider-Man will always be classic to me. It's like Sonic in that way. I'm going to always be a Sonic fan, but my guy is Knuckles. You know what I'm saying? But I got love for Shadow too. You know, I got love for Tails too. But I will always have love for Sonic because he's what introduced me to it. That blue ball, that blue speed demon, you know what I mean? That blue hedgehog, that's my guy, you know? So as far as Spider-Man goes, I want to have as many people as possible who have not experienced the first game to definitely jump in. And I think we're beyond the point of, oh, you need to buy this box to experience this game. Make these games available to more people, man. Again, you can't say that you're about the money. Like for me, I think if we start getting past the hurdle of exclusive games, that we can actually hold these companies more accountable for giving us hardware that is innovative, that is trying to move things forward, where, you know, you can do more. We're moving into an era to where we're not trying to leave people behind as far as games go, right? Now, having given people upgrade paths and stuff like that, kind of like similar to what you have with your phone. Now, I wouldn't want it to be on a yearly basis. I think that's dumb. But, you know, every few years or so, technology moves forward and you have an option to upgrade, you can. Now, you would still be able to play whatever games, but you would have a understanding. There would be a true baseline for what the standard would need to be for us to move forward. So I personally would be excited about Spider-Man coming over to Xbox, right? Just as a fan of the brand, and again, just giving access to more people than ever. It doesn't have to be a Game Pass, but it can be, again, it's just a bag at this point. It would just be free money for Sony, so why wouldn't you? Now, again, we'll see how things play out as far as Marvel and Disney goes. Maybe Disney's put a little bit more of that boot on the neck for Sony, right? The movies haven't been the greatest as far as Spider-Man and Venom have gone, and then the Spider-Verse. Then the Spider-Verse has been successful. That's been, the animated ones are phenomenal, but they did the Madam Web stuff that didn't land well. It's just, I don't think Sony is the best stewards of Spider-Man up to this point, especially seeing how the second game didn't do as great as it probably should have. And again, I feel like that's rare. Like, you get that first game, the first game is pretty damn solid. You would think that the second game would up at that next echelon, and supposedly it doesn't. I can't wait to find out myself whenever it ends up releasing on PC. Or who knows? Maybe what I spoke to earlier, it'll release on Xbox at the same time. Maybe they'll do a trilogy. Give you Spider-Man 2018, Miles Morales, and Spider-Man 2. Who knows, man? But with that being said, that's my my thoughts. What for lunch with Steel this week? Follow me everywhere. Steel Rain. That T is a 7. Y'all be easy. Be safe.